you're joining us tonight for the first time, we are seeing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and each night we are also seeing one name of the 108 names of Puja Gurudev. So tonight being the 8th night, we have to see that 8th name. We'll chant from the first one. You can repeat those names after me. All these names are taken from the Upanishads, from the Shastras. It's the names of the absolute reality, actually. And they were compiled way back in the 80s. Om Ajaya Namaha.
Om Ajaya Namaha.
Om Avyayaya Namaha.
Om Avyayaya Namaha.
Om Avinashine Namaha.
Om Avinashine Namaha.
Om Achintyaya Namaha.
Om Achintyaya Namaha.
Om Aprameyaya Namaha.
Om Aprameyaya Namaha.
Om Advitiyaya Namaha.
Om Advitiyaya Namaha.
Om Aniketaya Namaha.
Om Aniketaya Namaha.
Om Anushasana Priyaya Namaha.
Om Anushasana Priyaya Namaha.
Anushasana Priyaya Namaha. Anushasana means rule, law, discipline, laid down patterns of behavior, whatever has been laid down in the past, those things that govern civil society. This is the best explanation for that Sanskrit word, Anushasana. Anushasana refers to those rules that govern civil society and causes civil society to function very smoothly and harmoniously. They call as Anushasana. So he is called as Anushasana Priyaya. Anushasana Priya means one who loves, protects all of those rules that govern civil society. They call as Anushasana Priya. One who will give his life for that thing. In modern terminology, one who protects and loves the rule of law. Today we have, what you call as rule of law. This is a technical thing, rule of law. But everywhere you go, there is rule of law. In every different sector or in every different department, at every different level of society. Like for example, when you came here to this ashram, right? Today, there's different rules here or not? You have to leave your shoes outside. That's the first rule. Now, suppose somebody walk in here with their shoes. Do we hold a man? Throw he and the shoes out. Both. There's a rule here. So, and like that, there will be several. You see, women will sit on this side and men will sit on. Rule or not? One who comes and says, I don't like this rule. I will sit wherever I want. How dare you tell me where to sit? But he's not Anushasana Priya. Means to say, the rule that obtain here, he doesn't follow, he doesn't like. But one who says, oh, here is discipline, because discipline is controlled by these rules, inside this ashram, this is how the people are supposed to behave. Women will sit on this side, men will sit on this side, you leave your shoes outside, and when you come here, you don't make noise, or you don't come inside the ashram and quarrel and carry on all your outside thing. This is a rule. So one who loves those rules, wherever you go, if I go to an ashram, these are the rules. If I go to school, these are the rules. If I go to a business place, these are the rules, right? You pay, when you go to the supermarket, you take up your whatever you want there in the supermarket, and you come by the checkout, and you pay there, and you go out. Of course, it first of all requires following the rule. I hear a nice story of you have to be aware and know the rules. or Rastaman gone inside his supermarket, he pick up a pack of orange juice and 2 pounds of sugar. He come by the checkout, he pay for the orange juice, and he walk out without paying for the sugar. So the people stop him. Hey, Rastaman, where is this? You're supposed to pay for the sugar. How come you didn't pay for the sugar? He say, you think I'm stupid? Oh, look at written on the orange juice here, sugar free. That is a misinterpretation of the rule, eh? You could have a misinterpretation of the rule also. So anyway, every place you go, you're driving on the road in Trinidad and Tobago, you're supposed to drive on the left side. That's the rule. So one who is a lover of rules that govern civil society, he is called as Anushasana Priya. Do you know, if we study this one name and we practice that in our life, everything in life will go smooth. People don't follow. Especially in this country. The shoulder is for emergency. The shoulder of the highway is for emergency only. And a sign is there also. One man tell me he gone Princess Town. He see there a sign on the road. Low flying aircraft. Low flying aircraft. You know they have the signs and all. So he say he driving, first time he go in there. He watching all about low flying aircraft, better take my time, you don't know what happened. After some time, he will look in here, see no aircraft. So he asked some fellas there, how come it have a sign there, low flying aircraft? You have an airport here or what? Princess don't have an airport? Them fellas said, no man, them man they gone Piaco and they see this sign, they pull it out and come and stick it here. People in this country, I tell you, wonderful. Low flying aircraft in Princess Town. So anyway, once we become Anushasana Priya, we will really contribute to the harmony, orderliness, neatness, and lawfulness in society. When the moment we have a disregard for rules and all that kind, and that's how a person becomes great. That's how he became the great Swami Chinmaya. Nah? The great soul, the one who follows rules. Anushasana Priya. What a nice name. And I keep telling every night, all of these names are so nice. Just one name if you study, it will bring about so much of benefit to everybody. One name. So, now, last night when we left, we came to the end of chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. I just want to read there the Phalastuti of this first chapter. It says, Om Tat Saditi
Om Tat Saditi
Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu
Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu
Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Prathamodhyaya means the first chapter, and this first chapter is named here in the Phalastuti at the end. It says Arjuna Vishada Yoga Nama. It is called as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. It is the yoga of the Vishad of Arjuna. Vishad means sorrow. It is the yoga. This first chapter is called the yoga of the sorrow of Arjuna. But where is this? Sorrow is a yoga too. See, what yoga means? To join, to unite, right? It comes from the Sanskrit root yuj. Yuj means to join or to unite. To join what to what? This jiva who feels himself separate from God. He's not separate. It is only a feeling of separation. This jiva is not separate from God. We have never been separate and we cannot be separate. But jiva will leave and go where? God is all pervasive. This jiva is one with God, but there's a feeling of separation. I think I'm not connected to God and all that kind of thing. So that thinking has to be removed. When that thinking is removed, then I realize my oneness with Ishvara. That is the idea. So now, how sorrow becomes a yoga? The sorrow of Arjuna, the yoga of the sorrow of Arjuna, it is like this. Tell me if this is not true. Or mean true or not. See this. When people get sorrow only, they start turning to God. That is true or not? It is absolutely true. Kabir Das ji writes a nice doha at one place. You know, he says, Sukh mein sumiran, dukh mein sumiran sab kare. Sukh mein kare na koi. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, to dukh kahe ko hoi. In times of sorrow, everybody thinks about God. In joy, nobody thinks. You tell me, when people, especially in this country, when people come out on the street next month, that's all you know we are talking about, right? Next month, when these people come out on the street and they start to dance and prance and frolic and whatever they do, I don't know all the names they have for all them things, right? That time, you think anybody thinking about God? No. God has no place there. Nobody thinking about God. So, in time of joy, pleasure, all something, nobody thinks of God. But when some sorrow, some disaster, some calamity, something falls, so like carnival time, I don't get no call. After the event, all that finished, right? And then the trouble start. Then, you know, people calling the Swami, Swamiji, this trouble day, this problem day. I don't get no call in happy time, you know. I just only get call in misery time, because people immediately their mind turn to God. Oh, this thing is written in Shastra. I just quoted Kabir Das ji for you. This is the truth. So Arjuna here in this first chapter found himself in deep sorrow. Can you imagine, right? The commander-in-chief of the army, and there's a war that is declared between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. Well, let me not pit Venezuela against Trinidad, but they are too big. There is a war that is declared between Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada. We have a better chance there. And we put he's the commander-in-chief of the army, right? We put he in front there. And that's like the Grenadian commander-in-chief, and they're watching each other like this now. And we Trinidad and Tobago commander-in-chief, oh God, I'm a cousin on the next side, boy. Me and he going to school together, we grew up together, we play marble together. How I go kill he? And we commander-in-chief start to cry on the battlefield now. What will happen to Trinidad and Tobago? A little country like Grenada, whose first line of defense is a speed bump on the beach. A little country like Grenada, go walk over Trinidad, isn't it? You could ride around Grenada in a bicycle. Such a little place. So if we commander-in-chief and a fault are there, but this is what has happened to Arjuna, a big man who had risen through the ranks in every department there, most successful individual. Now he found himself crying like a little child. He get weak, he didn't have enough strength to hold his bow and arrow. Vishad, deep sorrow. Bhagavan, Bhagavad Pad Adi Shankaracharya has written in his Bhashya, he says that this Bhagavad Gita is just to remove shoka moha, delusion and sorrow. Sorrow and delusion in that order. But it is a sorrow which is caused by delusion. And if you were following the last 7 days, that is what we are talking about. Arjuna's delusion thinking that these people are his people, and thinking that he cannot kill his people. But our life is not so meager. We are connected to all beings in this world, not to just certain people. I am connected only to this one and this one. No, no. Our lives, we are connected to everybody. And you are sustained by an entire nation. You're not sustained by one person. Huh? That is how your life is connected to everybody. The shirt, the pants you're wearing, your jewelry, the clothes, everything you're wearing is made by somebody else, not your family members. You're sustained. The food you're eating every day, you don't plant them. Or you plant aloo or what? And dal. And rice. Where are they coming from? All, and especially this country, everything coming from outside. So we are sustained by the world. And so our life is connected to the whole world, and we owe the whole world. He is only thinking about his little family there, you know. And those two wicked fellows, Atataina, he himself called them. And given all sorts of arguments flawed from every side, that why he should not fight. So he found himself in a quandary, a predicament. And that brought great sorrow to him, because on one side his Kshatriya bhav and his thirst for battle is on the one side, and the next side is being torn asunder, apart by what? By his own relatives standing on the other side, and now having to perform his duty. The call of duty required that he kill his own relatives and all, which will take precedence, and which is supposed to take precedence. Duty supersedes everything. Now he wanted to relinquish his duty. And our duty is not only to ourselves, our duty to the family and to the whole world. That is how it works. Now, that brought him to this quandary, this predicament. And so it's called Arjuna Vishada Yoga, this first chapter. And now, he said, I will not fight. He put down his bow and arrow. And his bow and arrow actually fell out. And I will not fight, he told. So, Sanjaya relates to Dhritarashtra now, what transpired after that. See this thing. In second chapter now, today we start. Atha dvitiyo dhyayah.
Atha dvitiyo dhyayah.
Sanjaya uvacha.
Sanjaya uvacha.
Tam tatha kripaya vishtam.
Tam tatha kripaya vishtam.
Ashrupurna kulekshanam.
Ashrupurna kulekshanam.
Vishidantamidam vakyam.
Vishidantamidam vakyam.
Uvacha madhusudana.
Uvacha madhusudanaha.
Uvacha madhusudanaha.
Uvacha madhusudanaha.
Sanjaya is relating to Dhritarashtra. He says, after this happened, then, tatha, thereafter, tam kripaya vishtam Arjunam, that Arjuna, who was sunken in this battlefield, overwhelmed by kripaya. Kripaya means feeling sorry. Arjuna was feeling sorry to kill the people on the other side, because they were his relatives. So this is the meaning of the word kripaya. He felt sorry. So, that's like the police officer stop a man on the road, fella break some rule on the road, and you stop him. When you watch inside the car, you see that your own brother. So what is the police officer's duty now? You know what we're talking about, right? What is his duty now? But let me tell you, if it's me, right, I given he double fine. Really? Where I go say, what boy? You is Swami brother and you doing that? Like that. But you're supposed to stand there, and whoever the person is, you give them the ticket. But you know how it works, right? So duty is cast aside, and the filial relationship takes precedence over duty. The duty which is supposed to ennoble the soul. The duty ennobles the soul. But the filial affection and all that kind of thing takes precedent, and duty is pushed aside. And so the soul doesn't become noble by that act. The soul becomes ignoble by that act, because you have lowered your soul in that act. Means while you were not feeling sorry to give the next man the ticket, you were feeling sorry to give your brother the ticket, because he is your brother. That thing is Arjuna's disease. Feeling sorry to give his own brother. So the higher duty there is, or the higher act is to make sure that you give whoever you stop there who break the rule, give them the ticket. Right? So this is called kripaya. Arjuna was feeling sorry for them. Tam tatha kripaya avishtam. Avishtam means sunken within, taken over by. What? And then this feeling sorry, Arjuna was taken over by, and he couldn't do his duty now. And Ashrupurna collection with eyes filled with tears, crying, big man crying. He never cried in the past. And what I was telling you, this is a big man now on his knees and crying. The idea is, no matter how successful we are in this world, whatever our achievements are, that at some time, if we are not spiritual, if we do not pursue this path of moksha mukti, at some time, all our worldly acquisitions and possessions and all our worldly achievements will fail us, and we will be brought to our knees. We'll have to also go through this sorrow. Because this sorrow, this is vishad. And that's why I was just telling you, that is the day that person will really turn his life and become spiritual. The world has brought every person to its knees. See, we can't win this world. I mean, you are only a passing, ephemeral, momentary occurrence in this world. You didn't make world, you found the world here, na? And time is eternal. You just pass 80 years in eternal time is how much? 80 years in infinite time is how much? Nothing. We are passing through. And people have said time over. Are why time over? You over. But time over? No, time over. Time there, eternal. So, all our, Arjuna, in spite of all his worldly acquisitions, all his worldly prowess and all such things, he came to his knees now. Ashrupurna kulekshanam, eyes filled with tears. Vishidantamidam vakyam uvacha madhusudana uvacha. Bhagavan Shri Krishna now spoke to him. Again he is described in this verse. Which Arjuna? Vishidantam. Vishidantam Arjunam. Vishidantam means crying. This fellow was, just as he was good at archery, he was good at crying also. What this Bhagavan spoke? See now, that is given in verse number 2 and 3 of this second chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Kutastva Kashmalamidam
Kashmalamidam
Vishame Samupasthitam
Vishame Samupasthitam
Anaryajushtamaswaryam
Anaryajushtamaswaryam
Akirtikaram Arjuna
Akirtikaram Arjuna
Klaibyam Masmagamapartha
Klaibyam Masmagamapartha
Naitattvayupapadyate
Naitattvayupapadyate
Kshudram Hridaya Daurbalyam
Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam
Tyaktotishta Parantapa
Tyaktotishta Parantapa
Tyaktotishta Parantapa
Tyaktotishta Parantapa.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord himself. Now this is the first time in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha comes. I want to tell you. Uvacha, at that time it came there. Partha Pashyaitam. There he spoke. He didn't say Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, you know. Uvacha Partha Pashyaitam. Etan Kuruniti. Here, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, or the Lord himself spoke. I want you to please take this to heart. The message which is given in Bhagavad Gita is the Lord of the universe himself, that eternal Lord who is infinite in every regard, the Lord who is beyond time, who is beyond space, beyond all the gunas, gunatita, kalatita, who is all pervasive, who is beginningless, who is described in all the words of the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, all the Shastras, of all times, all religion. All people worship this Lord in some form. That Lord himself is speaking for the welfare and for the benefit of humanity. The Bhagavad Gita is the direct words of Bhagavan. If this Shraddha is not there, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, he says in 4th chapter. If this Shraddha is not there, well, let me go and see what our Gita say in there. I don't know if Bhagavan really said anything, or somebody else say and they say Bhagavan say. If that kind of attitude is there, you are not going to learn anything from Bhagavad Gita. The attitude should be, these are the words of the Lord of the universe himself. When he speaks to every living creature, single-celled organism also. He speaks the words, and their power are meant to touch all things. I tell you, you try an experiment. Tomorrow morning, from tomorrow, for the next 108 days, you get up and chant Bhagavad Gita for your tomato tree. And tell me if you get more tomatoes. No joke. Now science also, they are confirming all of these things. You talk ordinary words to your tomato tree, you get more tomatoes. What about if you talk Gita? So, this is the power of the words of Bhagavad Gita. And now, in this first verse where Bhagavan speaks, he lashes out at Arjuna in such a tremendous way. This verse, we just know, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam, which is now we are chanting. We died the way we learned to chant, so what we go do? These two verses have to be read with such Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Arjuna Anarya Jushtam Aswarya. The meanings of the word have to be said like this, and the tone has to come out like that. Akirti Karam Arjuna. What is the matter with you? From where has this unmanliness entered into you? I could say all this in Trini also, but... Klebiam mas magama partha nayetatvayu papadyate. It doesn't befit you. You're acting like a eunuch. What strong words? Eunuch, genderless. Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tektotishta. Oh Parantapa, cast it out from your heart and you rise up. Where is this weakness? From where it has come to your heart? What is the matter with you? Because Arjuna was a forceful warrior. Suddenly a man who had this power lurking inside of him, he became like a little rabbit. If you blow poo, he will fall down. So Bhagavan's words are, I love these two verses, I tell you. But this is what, now see, retract a little bit. Now Gyan, knowledge. I told you, we are setting the stage in the last few days for Bhagavad Gita, in the last 7 days. What is the stage that we are setting? Moha or delusion, which is sometimes you call as ignorance, right? We call as ignorance or Maya and all that. It's the same thing. This moha or delusion is the cause for the sorrow of the human being. And human being only, they want to get rid of sorrow only. That is all. We don't want anything else in this world. We are only looking to get rid of our sorrow. The other way to say that is we are only seeking happiness. That is the corollary of the same statement. The reverse of the other side of the same statement. Right? We are only looking for happiness or trying to avoid sorrow. And this sorrow is caused by delusion, by moha, or what you call it, ajnan. Right? Now, the only thing that can remove that ajnan is jnana. So if Bhagavan is going to start his teaching to Arjuna, and this is the problem is ajnan, ignorance. So Bhagavan should give knowledge to remove that ignorance. But see how Bhagavan starts. But he's not giving any knowledge, he's giving scolding. He's scolding him. He's shouting at him, insulting him also, klaibyam. And the reason for that, and let me tell you something. When you go in the hospital with a heart attack, you see they just take two electrical pole like that, like two iron heater kind of thing. Have you seen that? Eh? 2 or 1? 2. When in that state, cardiac arrest, that time you can't say, beta, wake up now. You can't go there patting him to wake up, isn't it? What you do? When you turn on, and when here the first one I walk, they raise the current, right? Yeah, I look at doctors and I sit down here, they know, ask them. They have several of them here. You raise the current and you give him a good shock, man. That is called an electrifying experience. So Arjuna has fallen into a deep and profound delirium. When a person becomes delirious, before you could give him any knowledge, right? You have to shake him out of that delirium. That is the idea. That is something which is, I just giving you example. That is normally used like that. You have to shake him out of delirium. That delirium. Then only you'll be able to teach him something. That sometimes you've seen, let me tell you something, you have seen this many times in movies and all. Some person get delirious and they hit him one slap first, right? When he come to, when he catches, as in Trinidad language, they say catch himself. When he catch himself, sometimes there are people who catch little power and thing. Have you seen that? So, some fella catch power. So the Baba whisper some mantra in the air. And the fella, all the power gone. He sit down quiet. He gets Shanta, Shanta Karam. He get like Bhagavan Vishnu. The mantra was so good. Somebody asked the Baba, what mantra is that? He said, tell him, if you don't sit down quiet, I'll put you out of his temple. That's the mantra. Go on and sit down. Quiet, you see? So anyway, when something happens, and there's delirium and there's paranoia, we have to really use some technique. And Bhagavan is so wonderful, I tell you also. You know, you have to see every situation on its own merit, judge that situation at that point in time and circumstances are surrounding it, and act according to that, isn't it? That person might ordinarily be a very peaceful and nice person, but if he has become delirious and paranoid, in that situation, then what do you do? See the situation. Very real. I've told in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no positive thinking and negative thinking. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is real thinking. This is how human life should be lived. On some of the previous night, I told, gave explanation of that meaning also, that sentence. We are supposed to think real. You just look at what is before you and act according to what is before you. And Mahatma Gandhi said a nice thing, you know. I am not trying to be consistent with what I said or did yesterday. This is another big mistake we make. I'm not trying to be consistent with what I said or did yesterday. I'm acting in relation to the facts as I see them before me, right? No. I may have acted contrarily yesterday or whatever, but that was because of the facts. That time. Bhagavan was very nice to Arjuna. He says, Sakha, you know. In 4th chapter, he'll call him Sakha. Sakha me. You're my friend. But under the circumstances, he gives him a good tongue lashing, man, to shake him out of that delirium. Now, when Arjuna himself was shaken out a little bit, now he speaks. Still not shaken out totally. You could take a whole 18 chapters to shake he out. 18 chapters here, Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhe.
Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhe.
Dronam cha Madhusudana.
Dronam cha Madhusudana.
Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami.
Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami.
Pujarha Varisudana.
Pujarha Varisudana.
Pujarha Varisudana.
Pujarha Varisudana.
I download our next one today. Huh? This one, yeah. This one have the Uvacha. No? Arjuna Uvacha. Now Arjuna speaks, replying to Bhagavan's tongue lashing just now. No. And again, he is pointing out exactly his problem. Arjuna is very good at diagnosing in those old problems. I told you that also on the previous day. O Madhusudana. See the name also chosen. He calls Bhagavan Madhusudana. He is the slayer of Madhu. Madhu Rakshasa. Madhu Danav. Bhagavan has slayed Madhu Danav, that Rakshasa, right? So, Arjuna means to say, Bhagavan, he is a Rakshas, and it is your duty to slay Rakshas. Because he calls him Madhusudana. But it should be Pratiyotsyami. Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhe, it should be Pratiyotsyami. How can I slay now Dronacharya and Bhishma who are standing here? They are not demons? Pujarha Varisudana, they are Pujarho. Oh, Arisudana. Bhishma Maham Sang, Bhishma and Drona who were there, standing on the battlefield. How can I slay them? It is okay if Madhu Danav, I will slay him, no problem. But Bhishma, grandfather, and then Drona, my own guru, how you want me to slay them? They are Pujarho. Pujarho means worshipable. And then he continues now in his dissertation Arjuna is giving. Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan.
Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan.
Shreyo bhoktum bhaikshamapi haloke.
Shreyo bhoktum bhaikshamapi haloke.
Hatvartha kamanstu guru nihaiva.
Hatvartha kamanstu guru nihaiva.
Bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan.
Bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan.
Na chaitadvidma kataranno gariyaha.
Chaitadvidmah kataranno gariyaha.
Yadva jayema yadivano jayeyuhu.
Yadva jayema yadivano jayeyuhu.
Yaneva hatva na jijivishamaha.
Yaneva hatva na jijivishamaha.
Teva sthita pramukhe dhatarashtraha.
Teva sthita pramukhe dhatarashtraha.
Karpanya doshopahatas svabhavaha.
Karpanya doshopahatas svabhavaha.
Prichhami tvam dharma sammudhachetaha.
Prichhami tvam dharma sammudhachetaha.
Yachreyasyanishchitam bruhitan me.
Yachreyasyanishchitam bruhitan me.
Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam.
Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam.
Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyad.
Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyad.
Yadchhokamudchoshanamindriyanam.
Yadchhokamudchoshanamindriyanam.
Avapya bhumavasapatnamriddham.
Avapya bhumavasapatnamriddham.
Rajyam suranam apichadhipatyam.
Rajyam suranam apichadhipatyam.
Arjuna's words continue. Guru na hatva hi mahanubhavan. Shreyo bhoktum bhaikshyamapi haloke. Better than killing these guru, my guru Dronacharya who is sitting on the other side, who great people, mahanubhavan. Shreya is better, bhoktum bhaikshyamapi haloke. That I go and beg and live on alms. Rather than kill these people. So you see how Arjuna is just, he's taken a great world event, something that is going to save posterity, save humanity, such a momentous occasion in history of civilization. He has taken that whole thing, where the Lord of the universe has incarnated to come to bring about a turn in civilization. He has taken that whole big momentous thing and he has reduced it to just how kill my guru and how kill Bhishma, and they are worshipful. So there is no idea in his head as to the magnitude and gravity of the historical situation that is transpiring there before him. No idea at all. And human beings live like that, totally oblivious. Totally oblivious of their time and their place in history and their situation in this grand scheme of things. We just live our little own selfish little life, Yeah. My neighbor gave me okra today, And if they had 2-3 mango hanging on my side, I pick them because I have a right to them mango. Because they're hanging on my. So is he concerned about the little things in life like that? He never sees himself in a big picture. So he reduced that whole thing to this little thing. But I live on alms. He's telling no. Shreyo bhoktum bhekshamapi haloke atvartha kamans tu guru nihaiva bunjiya bhogan rudira pradigdan. After I've killed them and their blood has soaked into the soil, then I will take kingdom and enjoy that kingdom with their blood soaked into the soil of this kingdom. No. I can't do that. This is argument. Like that. So why you join the army for? One fella gone for recruiting in the army, So the boss asking him, what were you before you joined this army? He said, I was happy. Miserable too bad in the army. So you should not join. What are you doing there? Nachaitat Vidman. Now his mind continues again. See, his mind is going on, racing. Even though he's just given a blow by Bhagavan Shri Krishna, verbal blow, his mind is still going on. Nachaitat Vidma Kataran no gariyaha yadva jayema yadiva no jayeyuhu. I don't know which is better, in my whether I should kill them or let them just kill me. His selfishness and his concern for his own little group has brought him to the point where now he is willing to give up his life also. He's become suicidal. Yane vahatva na jijivishamaha teva sthita pramukhe dhatarashraha. I do not see how I will be able to live after his concern also is a very genuine concern. Because of people's narrowness of understanding and vision of their place in civilization, we all find ourselves in the same sort of position. So the solution will be not merely to tell Arjuna to go and fight. The solution will be to make him find his place in the bigger picture. And when he can find his place in the bigger picture, he'll be able to go and do his duty properly. Because you're not living in an island all by yourself. You're living in a world that is made possible by others also. The sons of Dhritarashtra who are standing in front of us are ready for battle. If I kill them, I don't see how I will be able to live properly after that. That will be on my mind. This is also like the policeman who gives the ticket to his brother and then he comes home and he's worrying all night. I shouldn't have given my brother the ticket, So the thing will weigh on his. But if he is conscious of his duty and his place in the whole system, and he does it, it will not at all affect his mind. But if he is not conscious, it will affect his mind. This is what is happening to Arjuna. And in the most famous verse in this section here, he himself diagnoses his own problem. If you want to diagnose Arjuna's, see the diagnosis, you just have to read this one verse. It's called 2.7. He says, and this is a very good thing, if you could go by the doctor and tell him clearly what's wrong with you, the doctor will be able to. So several things happen in this verse. Let us see now. First thing he says, my swabhava is upahata. Upahata swabhava. My swabhava is being robbed away from me. My natural disposition and my bloodthirsty mind, my mind that is thirsty for battle all the time, that type of kshatriya bhava has been robbed away from me. Bhagavan himself, Arjuna himself is telling now. And by what? Karpanya doshaha. Karpanya dosha means I'm feeling sorry for them fellas. I'm feeling sorry for my own people on the next side. Well, Arjuna should have think one thing. Simple thing. But if them fellas were really your people, they should have been on your side. What are they doing on the next side? Isn't it? But anyway, he said, I'm feeling sorry for them. So that thing has robbed me of my natural disposition to fight, which I am a kshatriya. I fought so many battles in the past. Then, so therefore, now after diagnosing his own problem, he continues further and he tells, dharmasa mudha chetaha, and therefore now I do not know which is the right course of action to take. And he told us just now, whether let them kill me or I kill them. I don't know. With regard to dharma, what is the right thing to do in the moment before me? What is the right thing to do? I'm confused about that. And human beings suffer this malady throughout their life. Every stage of their life, human beings suffer this malady. We don't know what is the right thing to do. You see that from childhood itself. All of us. Choices, making right choices is the biggest problem for human beings. Making right choices. And the choices are made clearer when delusion is gone. If delusion is there in the mind, as is there in the mind of Arjuna now, and as is there in all of our minds, when delusion is there, making right choices is the biggest problem for him. And all the way down to the end, when he going, he time to leave this world also, he going to buy a coffin also. He making an arrangement with the funeral home before he pass away. And he gone there, and they have about 25 different coffin lineup. He know which one to choose now. He tell any coffin maker, he said, bury me in this coffin. I don't want that cheap one day. Bury me in this nice expensive coffin. The undertaker said, yes, if you will be more comfortable in this one, we will bury in this one, no problem. You know. He really know what is the right thing to do. And I told him, nowadays in them cemetery, in big cities like New York and Chicago, and if you go to, big cities, Baltimore and things, they have no place in the cemetery anymore to bury you like this, because around our land. Now they bury you like that. They stand up the coffin to take less space. Now there's no such concept of rest in peace. He can't rest in peace again. But the human being, throughout his life, in the last stage there also, so deluded, he doesn't know which is the right decision to take place. You know what the Shastra says? The Shastra says, wherever his body drops, let it drop. Right? The Shastra says that. Wherever the body drops, let it drop, man. Because जो अंदर रहते हैं वो हंस उड़ गया. He is अंदर वाले उड़ गया. He's gone. Oh, he's thinking about body and thing now. No, bury me. $10,000 coffin. $10,000 could feed so many people, but he's still thinking about. And he's going to buy the plot. This is the best one. He's going to buy the plot in the cemetery. So how much for that plot? He asked the man. 5,000. How much for that plot over there? 10,000. He said, why that? Right there, any 10,000? He said, yeah, man, go there, you go see the view. So he paid 10,000 for the view. What a wonderful thing. Doesn't know how to make proper decisions the whole life. In the end also, I'm telling. Arjuna is telling Bhagavan, he said, Prabhu, now I don't know what is the right course of action to take. This is a universal malady of human existence. And one of them. Okay, now he says one or two most wonderful things in this verse, which is going to bring about a change in the whole situation which is here. Just now, he was giving discourse to Bhagavan. Now that will change, because he does the thing which every good student, disciple, every good seeker, aspirant, every one who desires happiness, what he's supposed to do. Arjuna does that thing. That is, we'll see tomorrow.